So, we're halfway through the year, and it's that time that I traditionally do a midterm report, looking back on the movies that have been released so far this year and deciding which ones are my best and worst as of the middle of the year. Now, bear in mind that these lists may not match up at all with what happens at the end of the year. As I said, this is a midterm report. A couple of rules. What I've said in the past is that I've tended to exclude movies that fell into the award season this year, because otherwise, January, February, you get all the movies that are being released for the Oscars and the BAFTAs, but they are films which essentially I saw last year. So what I'm going to give you now is my list of the top 5 movies, the movies that I have enjoyed the most this year, and whether or not they'll be in my top 5 at the end of the year, who knows. So first, at number 5, Julia's Eyes. Psychological horror movie. I thought wonderful because of a fantastic central performance by Belén Rueda. Some of you will remember that I gave Belén Rueda the Kermode Award for Best Actress years ago when she starred in The Orphanage. Once again, she brings that quality to the screen that anything that she's in, she really, really lifts. So it was an interesting film, a ghostly story, well told, but it hung absolutely on her central performance, and for that it goes in at number 5. At 4, and not everyone will agree with me on this, Source Code.
At 7:48 this morning, Central Standard Time, a bomb exploded on a commuter train outside of Chicago, killing everyone on board. And that's the train that you've been on.
No, I'm right here. You're talking to me right now.
A man named Sean Fentress was on that train. He, for all intents and purposes, is now you.
See, I like blockbuster movies, I like spectacular movies, I like mainstream movies, and for me, Source Code is one of those films like Inception. It's a film which wants to play to the multiplex audience, but also understands that, you know what, multiplex audiences are not stupid. People are able to keep up with complex plots. People are able to deal with complex ideas if they're told in a populist manner. And it also is a film that has borne repeated viewings. I like it very much. It's in at number 4. At number 3, so many great documentaries out this year. I mean, Armadillo hasn't made it into my top 5, but I really, really like that. But in at number 3, Sena. Why? Because I don't care about Formula One racing, which, as I'm sure you're aware, has been in the news very much recently. But I watched Sena and I was gripped. It was, for me, a story about somebody about whom I knew almost nothing at all, but I found it really interesting on a human level. It is a documentary that managed to be both informative and dramatic and moving, and to do the thing that all great documentaries do, to draw you into a subject about which you may have no knowledge and, more specifically, no interest. At 2, Quatro, Volte. The film which has been described as the silent goat farming movie, and yet it is so much more than that. Why do I love it? Well, partly because it is, to all intents and purposes, a silent movie, a movie which is not led by dialogue, a movie which is led by images, by moments, by connections that are delivered in a way which is entirely cinematic and not to do with language. And also because I went into it thinking, oh my word, it's going to be a silent goat farming movie, and it turned out to be so much more. It turned out to be metaphysical, transcendent, exciting, funny, uplifting, surprising, all those things you really want from a movie. But my best movie of the year, straight in at number 1, it's another documentary, Bendable, an extraordinary documentary about a musical group making a wonderful sound. And obviously, as somebody who loves skiffle, there were certain things about the homemade nature of the instruments, the rootsy nature of the music, which really interested me. But more than that, it's a music documentary which manages to somehow capture the uplifting power of the music. It is a tribute to the musicians, that they have made this music under such difficult and harsh circumstances, and that music has reached out around the world and has found new fans everywhere. I know when I first saw the film, I did a blog about it here and said, you know, you really need to see Bendable. If you haven't seen it yet, go see it. It is one of the most uplifting and exciting experiences of the year, and at the moment, it's my favourite film of the year.